Hey everybody, good afternoon. I'm on time again. I'm going to start setting a level of expectation that I probably can't uphold for very long, so I got to be careful. But it's 6 o'clock, like I said, I'm here on time. It just, pretty big storm just whipped through here. It was pretty impressive. I was a little concerned about trees, but hey, life is life what it is. I'm a little bummed out today. The tea I usually drink was out. It was completely out at Safeway, so I had to try something new. Gold Peak. It's not as good as what I usually drink, but it's tea. So I hope everybody's having a good weekend and is going to enjoy what's left of the weekend. We got a few hours left, and then it's back to the grind tomorrow. Yay. I got notes again. I'm starting to impress myself. I'm actually showing up prepared. Hey, Mark. Happy birthday, Mark, by the way. Hope you have many more. But happy birthday to Mark. Yeah, Sydney's miracles everywhere. The first thing I want to talk about tonight, and I waited to talk about it just because I wanted to make sure no new information came out. And I didn't want to start talking about something and then things change. I want to talk about that shooting in Buffalo where the 13 people were shot, the 10 people were killed, 3 were injured. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I don't want to talk about it much because it's still ongoing. They're still looking at some things. Apparently the guy was a white supremacist or a racist, and he targeted African Americans, so they're trying to label it a hate crime or investigate it as a hate crime. I don't know if I would call it racism. There's a lot of racists, and most of them don't go out shooting people. I mean, it doesn't excuse what they are, but I don't think racism is a reason for the shooting. I think, and I could be crazy, and y'all can call me crazy, I think it's evil. I think he was an evil individual who just did evil things. I think people like to label things racism or people who are crazy or delusional or on drugs because that's easier for them to get their heads wrapped around. It's easier to understand that somebody did something because they're a white supremacist. That makes sense. I can grasp that. I can get my hands on it and understand it. But if you say someone did something because they're just evil, that's hard for some people to understand. They can't understand that. They can't grasp it. They can't wrap their head around it, and it makes them uncomfortable. So it's easier for some people, hey Mark, it's easier for some people just to label, like I said, well, he was a racist, he was a white supremacist. Do I think that played a part in it? Oh, I'm sure it did. But do I think that was the main reason? No, I think the main reason he did what he did is because he's evil. He was an evil individual. I think some people are born evil. Just like some poor people are born gifted with math, or born gifted with music instruments, or born gifted with other things. I think some people are born evil. I think serial killers, while they do have a mental deficient aspect to their personality, I think the major issue with them is they're evil. I think the man or the person that went and shot up these people was evil. I think racism played very little part in it. I think the biggest part was he was evil in his soul. That's my opinion. But they're charging him with first-degree murder, apparently, which will probably change to a hate crime. I'm sure the DOJ and other federal departments are looking into it to see if they can charge him with that. I was always under the assumption that anytime you murder somebody, it was a hate crime. I never thought, any other thing different than you hated that person, so you killed him. But I'm sure it'll be a couple of months before anything finalizes on his charges. I'm not even going to say the guy's name. I'm just going to call him a gunman. He doesn't deserve to have his name ever mentioned again. I personally think any record of him should be stripped and erased so he's forgotten. But that's just me. So yeah, I think racism played a little bit of part in it, but I think he's just an evil person. I think evil people just do evil things. And like I said, it's just easier to grasp if you call an evil act racism, or call an evil act, like I said, a mental illness. It's easier to grasp. It makes it more understandable. So that's why I don't think people want to refer to acts like that as evil, because, like I said, it's hard to understand for some people. They just can't grasp that concept. They don't understand it. awkward for them. It's frightening. So rather than call someone evil, they're a racist. They did that because they're racist. They're white supremacists. If that makes people feel better, that's okay, I guess. It doesn't address the issue. It kind of just pushes it away. Until you address the issue of a problem, it won't go away. And of course, now people are calling for stronger gun control and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's horrible when people get killed. But to blame the gun for what the gunman did is ridiculous. If he couldn't have got a gun, he'd have brought him with a knife. If he couldn't have got a knife, he'd have bombed the place or burned it down with people. People who are evil will always find a way to do evil things. You will never, ever stop that from happening. It's impossible. It's just not going to happen. The best thing to do is arm everybody. I mean, if everybody has a weapon, the likelihood of someone coming into a store to start shooting people drops to like below 10% because they don't want to get shot. They don't want to die. They want to make some statement. So if you don't have a criminal record, you can use the weapon you want to carry proficiently. You should be allowed to carry it. That simple. Another thing I want to say, and I'm sure people won't like this, I think in situations like that where there's an active shooting, police are on the scene, there's a shooting, they know who's doing it. I think at that point, arrest should be secondary. I think the first priority the police officer should have on scene is to neutralize the shooter. I don't think they should be worried about trying to get him out alive and arrested him. I think they should kill him. Because now this guy's going to live on the government our tax dollars until something happens. But we're going to pay for him for the rest of his life. I think in those, like I said, in those situations where they know who the person is, they know that he did it, he's actively doing it, I think at that point, it should not be an arrest scenario. It should be, shoot to kill. Neutralize the subject. Let's be done with this. And that goes for anybody. White, black, purple, blue, green, or yellow. I think in that situation, that person should forfeit their life. I mean, I don't care if they come out with their hands up. You've just forfeited your life. You've killed innocent people for whatever stupid reason you want to say or make people believe. I think you're evil. I think if you give them the chance, you would do this again. They should put them down like the rabid animals that they are. Dump them in a ditch and then send the family the bill for the bullet, the 38 cents to pay for the bullet. That may sound harsh, but what they did was even harsher. At least the police would be killing a guilty man versus that person killing innocent people. So I don't think it's really that harsh. I really don't. I think it's Mark, common sense is so rare now. Like I've said, it should be considered a superpower. I mean, nobody has common sense anymore. It's all about emotions and what makes you feel good is what's important. Common sense doesn't come into play anymore. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Common sense is a rare commodity. I would say it's more valuable than gold. But people just don't want to exercise common sense anymore. It's sad. But yeah, that's my opinion on the Buffalo shooting. It should, at that point when the police arrived, it should not have been an arrest scenario. It should have been neutralize the subject. And if that means you've got to kill him, kill him. We'll all go home and feel good. I'll sleep well tonight. Because like I said, that guy's going to live on our tax dollars now for at least 10 years. Even if they find there's no death penalty in New York, if I understand it correctly. But if they charge him with a hate crime, they can give him the death penalty because that's a federal offense. It's weird. Oh yeah, I will talk about the Board of Education. I always do. I'm not going to let them slide off on that because nobody wants to talk about it anymore. And I had said I was going to talk about the ballot and who I was backing. I thought about it, talked with a good friend of mine who's a pretty smart dude sometimes. And whether he knows it or not, he kind of cleared things up for me. The election's, over a month and a half away, around that time frame. And there are some things that are going on now that are kind of changing my opinion about some people. So before I react, I want to make sure that what I'm hearing from people who've called and texted or emailed me and what I'm seeing is just an anomaly. So I'm going to wait a couple weeks and see what goes on. I think some candidates, and I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying some candidates are just so focused on winning, they're willing to sell their soul to do what they got to do. And I'm hoping like I said, that's just a one-time thing that I'm hearing about, or someone's pointed out to me, and that it changes and they go back to being normal. So I'm going to give it some time to see how these people pan out before I start. What's the word I'm looking for? Before I start coming out against them. Not really against them. And that's another thing. No matter who I pick for my ballot when I do it, I'm not picking against anyone. I'm not saying this person is better than this person. I'm saying the person that I've decided to pick has a history of doing what needs to be done, has a good platform that I agree. Like I said, 90% or above. I have to agree with someone 90% or above, or I'm not going to support them. Doesn't mean if I don't agree with you 90% that I don't support you. Just I think the person that I'm picking has the best foundation for that position to make some changes. Does not mean I don't like the person. It is not personal. Everything when I pick my ballot picks is business. And business is never personal. Business is business. But like I said, there's some things going on that were brought to my attention that I'm looking into. So before I pick anybody, I want to see if how these things play out. And make sure that these are not how these candidates are going to be moving forward, and it was just a one-time thing. I will say to everybody, whenever you go campaigning, whoever you campaign with is a reflection of you. You need to keep that in mind. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit here, but not every Republican is a Republican, especially in Frederick County. We know that. Over the last couple of months, we have seen what the Frederick County Republican Party is. It's a joke. So you really need to be careful who you're associating yourself with when you campaign. Because believe it or not, a lot of Republicans in Frederick County are taking notice of the rhinos and who they're around and what they're doing. That's what some of the people who have emailed me and called me have brought to my attention, that they know that they see these things. So just keep that in mind. I would hate to see people lose votes simply because they're campaigning with somebody else. I think that'd be a horrible reason to lose votes. But just keep that in mind, because a lot of people are watching. Like my mom used to say, if you lie with dogs long enough, you're going to get fleas. And that's the truth. So keep that in mind. On to the BOE. I think Brad Young was in the Frederick News Post again, talking about how they struggled and they cut $8 million from the budget, but they're not going to affect teachers or anybody's salary like that. Well, it was tough, but we really put in the effort and we did the best we could, and we think everybody will like it. We really stuck in there for the teachers. Brad and the rest of the Board of Education, you let teachers and students be abused. So I don't think anybody really cares about the money or how tough you think it is to cut $8 million from over $700,000 million budget. Yeah, you took pennies out is what you did. You took pennies out, and now you're trying to come across like you're the savior. And if it wasn't for you and the rest of your do-nothing board, teachers would be eating government cheese and living outdoors under overpasses. But thank God for Brad Young and the Board of Education that figured out how to cut $8 million out of a bloated budget already and save the teachers and other people's salaries. None of them have addressed the abuse. None of them have addressed the DOJ report. None of them have addressed the Huff report. And nobody's holding them accountable. That I know. I want to let everybody know that. There could be things going on. I don't know about it, so I'm speaking to what I know. So if there is something going on about it, I apologize, but as it stands right now, I have little to no information, anything going on outside of what I've seen. So I can only go with what I know, and that's so far as I can tell, no one's held Brad accountable. Nobody has held Elizabeth Barrett accountable. No one's held April Miller accountable. These are people who were on the Board of Education during this DOJ report, who were there when the abuse was going on. These are people who were that during the Huff report, Brad Young was named by name as someone contacted to tell them about abuse. The disgraced superintendent was named and made aware. The BOE in general was named several times, and people said, hey, look, I emailed the BOE about this and never heard back from them. So these are people that have dodged and evaded any responsibility because the people have allowed them to do that. Those three people, and I really can't, well, anyone on the BOE from 2017 to 2021, midway through the school year, was aware of the abuse, according to the Huff report and the DOJ report. They all knew. And if any of those people who are running, as the aforementioned people I named, and Karen Yo, and I believe all those people who are running, and Jay Mason, who are running for re-election or running for a different position, should be shunned by anybody with an IQ above a flip-flop. Really. If you support these people in any way, what you're saying is you don't care about the abuse. Doesn't matter to you. It's not important. What's important is that they're nice people, and you believe that the DOJ lied, and that everybody that Michael Huff interviewed lied, and that these people knew nothing about it. They were oblivious for 7 years about anything going on in the schools that they oversee, and that they should and have deserved a promotion to a higher position, or at least earned a re-election to the Board of Education. So abuse doesn't matter to them, and you're going to vote for them anyway. People like that should be ashamed of themselves. That's the bottom line. Jan Garner has endorsed Brad Young. She should be ashamed of herself. Not that she's a stellar human being as is, but to endorse someone who's the president of the Board of Education while this was going on, who's yet to acknowledge his role in anything, to endorse that person makes you a lowlife. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. If anybody endorses these people, that makes you a lowlife. Because at the end of the day, they were on the Board of Education where students were abused and teachers were abused, and so far all they do is grin, shake their head, and act like nothing happened. That's disgusting. How they can say they champion anything is beyond me. I don't understand how anybody even listens to what they say. Brad Young wanted to sit down and talk with me person to person, face to face about this. No, I said no. I was on this. I think it was one of my first Facebooks. I said no, I would not do that. I would not talk with Brad Young face to face because I should not be the first person he talks to about the abuse. He should be talking to the parents and the students and the teachers about who were involved in it, not me. I'm not going to help his political aspirations. He's not going to use me as a springboard. Look, I talked about it with. Bottom line, all the BOE, past incumbents to current incumbents, have got it. They just need to be pushed out of politics. They bring nothing to the table. They're piss poor leaders, and have accomplished nothing. Nothing. What has been good with the BOE since 2017 to now? Somebody tell me what they've accomplished that they should be proud of. I can't think of one thing. Reading scores were in the toilet before COVID. Test scores, period, were in the toilet. Violence was at an all-time high. Drugs were at an all-time high. Gangs, bullying, and morale was at a low. Those were their accomplishments. That's what they're building their foundation of their re-election or promotion on. And people are letting them do that. I don't understand. The BOE's a den of vipers, bottom line. They will turn their back on anybody they have to. Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand how anybody can look at the BOE and take them seriously. How anybody would want to be associated with anybody on the BOE now. I would want to distance myself from anything like that, because I can almost guarantee that even though I don't know about it, something is going to come about of this. Some lawsuit somewhere is going to be filed. There's going to be people named, and it's going to blow up. And I would want to be far away from that as I possibly could, because it's not going to be a good thing when it happens. You really, really need to distance yourself from the Board of Education now. Regardless if you're running for the Board of Education, county council, or county executive, I would want to put as much distance between me and the current incumbents as I possibly could. Because if something happens, you're going to be named, you're going to be linked with those people forever. And I can almost guarantee something somewhere has got to be going on. Because the DOJ report just doesn't disappear. People just don't forget about that. People don't forget about abuse. They don't forget about the people who allowed the abuse to happen, who ignored it. That's not forgotten. I'm sure something's simmering somewhere. And that's my bit of advice to the candidates on any level, in the local area. Distance yourself from anyone associated with the BOE right now. You don't want to be around them. I think if you're running for the Board of Education, you should be pounding on the DOJ report. Every time you talk, you need to pound on the 7,000 times 125 kids were tortured in Frederick County Public Schools between 2017 2021, and nobody's been held accountable. the Board of Education assumed no responsibility, and these are the people you want to re-elect back into the Board of Education? Or these are the people you want to give a promotion to and send to Annapolis or the county council? These are the people you want representing you? People who ignore child abuse? Really? I'd have to question somebody personally that said, yeah, I support X, Y, and Z. Either they used to be in the Board of Education or they're on the Board of Education. I support them currently. I would have to question their judgment as well as their intelligence at that point. With all the information that's out about everybody that's been on the board from 2017 to 2021, for someone to still support them, I'd have to question their intelligence. I mean, I don't know how you could do that. Or why would anybody want to be associated with people like that? But that's just me. Yeah, Chaz is right. You got to vote a conservative school board. That's the only way to avoid this. The Democrats and libs, and I know the Board of Education is nonpartisan, so there's really no Democrat or any liberal or Republican on it, whatever. We all know there is. It's been controlled by the Democrats for how long? And look at the state of Frederick County Public Schools. I don't understand why people keep voting them in. Liberals are destroying public education in Frederick County, in the state of Maryland, and I'm sure everywhere else in the nation. And people will applaud. I don't understand it. I don't understand. Yes, hey, shipmate. Aaron Stevens is on. I went to high school with him. He's a smart guy. And he was in the Navy, so you know he's smart. So that's why I called him shipmate. We're in the Navy. Yeah, Aaron, they all need to go. And people keep putting him in office. And then they go, geez, what's wrong with the schools? I can't figure out what's wrong with the schools. It's because you voted in an asshole to the Board of Education. And this is what you get. Use your head. Stop thinking with, opinions or feelings. Base your vote on logic. Is this and like I said before, and I'll say it again, forget elections. You're the CEO of the company called whatever county you live in. So we'll say Frederick County. You're the CEO of Frederick County Incorporated. You need to fill positions. So you need to interview people that hire the best candidates for that position. That's the best way to look at it. Make it personal. That, hey, I'm paying this guy to do this. Can he do the job? Yeah, and we also need people on the board. I mean, you need to hire candidates that know how to make decisions, that will tell the state no, like Cindy's saying, that they don't agree with this. They're like, no, we're not going to do this. We don't agree with it. Like Carroll County's doing when it came to that, health class, the health curriculum. They've put the vote on hold. They want to look at it some more. So Frederick County Board of Education, namely Brad Young, have lied to you again. They do have a choice. You don't have to do it. Carroll County just proved it. They're taking their time and looking at it, which means it's not a guaranteed yes. They can vote against that curriculum. Our Board of Education, like I said on Facebook, lacks the backbone to fundamentally lead and make independent decisions. They are puppets. They will not go against the state. They will always agree with the state. It's shameful. I mean, when I posted on my page, one of the candidates for Board of Education in Montgomery County, Alex, I believe his name is, posted an actual page from a book or a curriculum, part of the health curriculum in Montgomery County that is statewide mandated apparently. And on this page, like a cartoon, like a comic book, on the page he posted, it appears to be, and I could be wrong because the pictures are bad, two male, that's it, Alex, I can't, Fammy, looks like two males engaging in oral sex, and this is being taught in schools. That's acceptable. That's education. That's what Frederick County Board of Education is passing, that they can't say no to. They have to allow pornography in the classrooms, whether it be a comic book pornography or actual pornography. They're allowing it into the classrooms because their hands are tied and they can't tell the state no. So how is Carroll County doing it? We're not. I'll tell you why. Because Carroll County's they've got a sack. Frederick County's got nothing. We got jellyfish on the dais. A bunch of spineless jellyfish that are afraid to say no and have no problem pushing pornography on your children. Oh, it's a library book. I'm sorry. Yeah, gender queer. It's in the libraries. It's on my page. It's pretty horrible. I can't imagine why that would even be in a library. I mean, I don't. I don't. And if I were a parent, my child brought that home from school to me, I'd call the police and file a charge. That's against the law. I mean, you can't give that to children. That is against the law. That is a crime. I would call the police and file a charge against the school. I'd report it. I mean, I know nothing would happen because they're not going to do anything, but I would be on record like, hey, this is a crime. They're letting my child look at pornography in the schools. I don't want to file a report. You never know. Well, that's true, Aaron. And it's been going on for a while. And I'm not saying it's just started happening. This is going on for years. It's just kind of snowballing now. It's going quicker and faster because I think people don't want to stay. Because the left have learned to weaponize words like racist or homophobe or transphobe. They've done it for so long, and it's been effective that now people are afraid to speak up because they know they get called that. There is a backlash. Things will happen to you. Oh, I don't think that book, where is it? Gender queer. I don't think gender queer is appropriate for my child. I want to take it out. Oh, you're a homophobe. You're a homophobe, a transphobe. And now everybody's beating up on you so you get quiet. So they've been very effective in doing what they've done to help move along this moral decline. Well, yeah, down in Florida, I think you're safe. Maryland is a joke. It's just a joke. And it's unfortunate because there's so much that could be done, and it would be easy to do. It's just nobody wants to do it, or not that the people in the positions of power don't want to do it. They're happy with the way things are. They're happy with the decline. They think it's education, and they think it's good. Yeah, man, I've been thinking about blowing out of Maryland too. It just, I don't know. I'm clinging to hope that maybe something will change. I mean, I'll give it a couple more years and see what happens, and if it doesn't change, I might be trying to become a member at your golf club, Aaron. But yeah, something's got to be done about the Board of Education. You got to vote in 4, not 3, not 2, not 1, 4 conservative board members. 4. Nothing else helps. And then after they get in, the next election, those 4 that are there can help get more conservatives on the board. So it starts a domino effect. So we need to get 4 on now. 4 solid conservatives. And that's the answer. That's the only thing there is. There's no more discussion to it. There's no more, well, what about this? That is it. It's that simple. Thank you, Aaron. Yes, we do need to stop the freaks, and I'm trying. And yeah, Mark, I keep trying to get out there, but I do sales. My schedule is crazy. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. I won't know my schedule for tomorrow until probably tonight. I'll get an email at 9 telling me where I got to be. So I can't even really make plans during the week. It's hard to do. It's just the nature of the beast. So yeah, get 4 conservatives on the Board of Education. That's the only way to fix it. There's no what if, maybe ands, possibly, maybe so. There is none. It's 4 or none. Thank you, Aaron. I'm just doing my part, and hopefully it makes a change. I mean, I got a kid, so I want a good future for my kid, and what I'm looking at now is not good. So yeah, don't forget and tell everybody you know when you talk to them in Frederick County or wherever, the Board of Education in Frederick County was investigated and found to have broken federal law by the Department of Justice. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. You can read the report online. Michael Huff did his own investigation. His report can be found online. All of this is fact. There's no possible, maybe, well, that's just opinion. It's fact. It's there. They can look at it for themselves. And after they read it, if they still want to deny it, that's on them. I mean, they want to bury their head in the sand and pretend like that didn't happen and continue voting for the idiots we have now. That's on them. And we'll hold them accountable when it happens again, because apparently the abuse is still going on. It hasn't even stopped. It's just not being reported anymore. So yeah, anytime you talk to somebody, go, hey, did you hear about the Board of Education in Frederick County? Did you hear about Brad Young? And then just lay it on them. Tell them it's online. If you're not willing to go look it up online, you can read it there. I'm not making it up. It's there. Brad Young will deny it to the day he dies, just like any politician would. Hey, I wasn't involved. Sure you weren't, pal. Yeah. Michael Huff's lying. The DOJ's lying. You're right. You knew nothing. None of you all knew nothing. You all never know anything. You don't do anything. So there's that. So yeah, Board of Education is, like I said, the most important election we have coming this term. That is it. That's where it all starts, in the schools. Yeah, I've said that before. If you see Brad Young having dinner, I'd ask him, hey, what about those kids that got abused in your schools? Why didn't you do anything about it? You knew, you were told, why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you pass it on if somebody could do something? Why'd you sit there and ignore it? If he gets uncomfortable, so what? How uncomfortable are those kids getting restrained and thrown into seclusion rooms 7,000 times? Who do you think was more, who do you think felt more awkward or more stressed out? That kid or the moron that ignored it? I'm more concerned with the kid than I am the adult. I would ask Brad Young if I saw him in public. I'd ask him that. I would ask Elizabeth Barrett if I saw her in public about that. I'd ask April Miller in public if I saw her about that. All these people are associated. Don't forget, they are not nice people. They are not good people. They are not leaders. Leaders don't allow that to happen to children. Bottom line, leaders do not allow abuse to occur to children. They don't ignore it. They don't pretend it's not there. They don't hear about it and then go, yeah, I'm going to look into it, and then not follow up. The second a leader hears that a child is being hurt on their watch, you better believe everything comes to a stop and then nothing moves forward until that's taken care of. It's not business as usual. But it's sad that people are looking to defend these people. It's sad that people are looking to give them a re-election or a promotion. I don't understand what it would take for some people. I mean, I guess what I need to do is get a brick and write on there, hey, the BOE allowed 125 or 200 students to be abused 7,000 times. And then put the name of the BOE members that were on the board that happened, and then hit them in the head with a brick. Like, yeah, you got to read that. Maybe then they'll go, oh, wait, yeah, that's not a good thing. Maybe I should stop supporting these people. It's ridiculous. And it's we need to, like I said, it's about ability, not appearance. And until people stop voting for appearances, we're going to get schmucks like this in office. We're not going to get the right people there. We're going to get people that can con and run a hustle and get people to believe that they're good people voting into office. It will never stop until people stop listening to what people say and look at what they do. And if you look at what the Board of Education in Frederick County has accomplished since 2017, you would be like, they need to go now. Let's have the election now. Get these people out of here. I get fired up because it's kids. I mean, it's really that simple. I shouldn't be the only one fired up about kids being abused. I don't understand why we haven't mimicked Loudoun County. They blew up. They marched. They demanded. What do we get? Nothing. We get $8 million cut from a budget, and a promise they won't cut teachers and special needs assistants' pay. Wow, that's big of them. That'll heal the wounds that some of those kids have that they'll carry for the rest of their lives. Special need kids don't bounce back like other kids. They hold on to things. They remember things much, much, much longer. Oh yeah, then the new superintendent from Montgomery County has yet to address this either. She's walked into a storm and hasn't addressed it. Now give her time. Maybe she's finding out about it, and she's waiting, like I did with the Buffalo shooting, kind of waiting to hear things. But she better address it. She can't ignore that elephant in the room forever, or she'll come back and bite her on the ass too, because people are going to start looking at her like, well, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to hold anybody accountable? I mean, you can talk, we're going to do investigations, we're going to, what about what has happened? How are you going to deal with that? Moving forward's great, but some of the people that were a part of that problem are still in the system. What are you going to do about that? And like I've told people before, that the lady from Montgomery County, do you actually think the Board of Education hired her because she's a conservative and she likes a classical education? Or do you think they hired her because she's just a puppet of a mirror image of what they are? If you think she's going to bring any change, meaningful change, I got swampland in Arizona I want to sell you. Pennies on the dollar. It's beautiful. I got some beachfront property in Iowa I can sell you too. You just let me know. It's easy to talk. It's easy to say what you're going to do. The proof is in the pudding. Don't tell me you're going to do it. Do it. Well, you got to remember too, Chaz, Marco was there during this whole abuse scandal too, and he didn't speak up. And he was the assistant superintendent, so you know for a fact he knew. Just saying. Do I think they should have hired somebody from out of county? No. Do I think they should have paid some firm to find candidates for him? No. Isn't there a human resource department in Frederick County they could have used? It just looked like they find reasons to spend money unnecessarily. And everybody just applauds. I'm doing a great job. They found a great candidate. Really? That's what your money buys. Another liberal candidate for Board of Education from a liberal county, and that's what you get. Yeah, Cindy's right. She says she's going to build on the FCPS success. What success? They haven't succeeded in anything except covering up the abuse. Well, that wasn't even a success. The DOJ found out about it. Nice. Swampland in Florida. Hell, that might not be a bad idea. At least it's in Florida. So yeah, just remember when you're voting for the Board of Education, none of the incumbents need another go-round. You have seen what they're going to give you. They're not going to change. They've given you their best, and this is what their best results in. Broken federal laws, abused students and teachers, a bloated budget, and no accountability. You're just going to get more of that, and I don't understand why I have to tell adults that. I mean, barring the adults that are here now and that will listen to this later, there are adults out there that don't see it that way. They just need more time. They need more time. They need one more term to get done what they need done. Forget the last, 10 years. Another 4 years they're going to get it. They just need 4 more years. Yeah, and the only good thing about the Apple ballot is it gives you a handy list of people you don't vote for. It spells it out for you. So that's the only good thing about the Apple ballot. It will let you know who you shouldn't vote for. So thank them for that. That way you don't have to go, what's that guy's name I don't want to vote for? You just look at the Apple ballot. Oh, that's him. I don't vote for him. So they made it very simple for us. Now on to the Republican Party in Maryland. Apparently, and I think I got this right, Pat McDonough from Baltimore has been stealing other candidates' signs and disposing of them. And I believe he's a Republican, if I read the article correctly. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So he's out there running as a Republican for, I think, county executive or executive of something. And he's stealing other candidates' signs. He's a Republican. And people want to try to tell me the Republican Party in Maryland is solid. Really? They're solid? We have a good Republican Party? We got candidates stealing other people's signs? That's how solid we are? Really? I don't... And I think Tim Fazenbaker's the one that caught the guy. I think he put up a trail cam and has actual pictures of this moron stealing signs and putting them in his vehicle. So it's not an if or maybe he did it. It's guaranteed. There's pictures. And I think there was a press conference today or yesterday, and I think 10 candidates kind of got together and they're demanding that he stepped out of the race and pull out. And I believe he should. I mean, if you're a Republican and you are attacking other Republicans, and it's going on here too, don't think it's just happening in Baltimore, but this guy's going around stealing signs. I don't care if there's signs for Democratic candidates he's stealing. It's still not right. Theft is theft. So, yes, he should be forced to step out of the race. There should be no question. And it's good to see, at least in Baltimore County, candidates are getting together to condemn poor behavior. That's not happening in Frederick County. They could give a shit what people do in Frederick County because all that matters is the R. So it's good to see in some county that R doesn't mean shit if you screw up. Wrong is wrong. And you're going to be held accountable, at least in Baltimore County. So I applaud them. I applaud Fazenbaker for doing this. I applaud all the candidates who came together and demanded he step out of the race. Bravo to them. That's balls. That's not even balls. That's called believing in fair play. That's called following the rules. And if you break the rules, you're going to be held accountable. In Frederick County, you can break the rules whenever you want to. As long as you have an R behind your name, it's okay. People aren't going to hold you accountable. They're not going to call you out. They're going to support you. It's good to see that in other counties in Maryland, that's not the case. I love it. Exactly, Cindy. That is called integrity. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what party you're with. You screwed up. You're gone. We don't want you anymore. Get out of here. God bless Baltimore County. If I could bring out the entire county for a beer, I would. I truly would. Bravo. All I can say is good job to them. I guess it boils down to what you think a Republican is. I think a Republican should embody fair play, regardless of what party you're in. Fair play. That everybody's equal. Everybody deserves respect. More so if they disrespect you, they deserve a little bit more respect. You don't go out of your way to hurt people. You believe in smaller government. You believe that everybody should have a fair chance at anything, that nothing should keep somebody away from a dream. Just, hey, good luck. Let's go at it. I think when you run as a Republican, you don't attack people personally. You attack their policies and their platform, not the person. You don't steal from other candidates. You don't lie about other candidates. You don't personally attack other candidates. You play fairly. That's what a Republican means to me. Conservative, the same thing. Smaller government, fair play, equal opportunity, helping out when you can help out, and in general, just not being a schmuck. Pat McDonough's a schmuck. Dude, stealing signs from other candidates in Baltimore County. But at least they're holding him accountable. At least he's going to face some backlash. Here in Frederick County, you got the vice president of the Republican Club, Jason Miller, and his buddy James Mr. Boomstick Gross, who are attacking Republican candidates from a website anonymously. And they're not attacking that person's platform or his policies. They're attacking him personally. And what does the Republican Party in Frederick County do when they find out about it? Nothing. They applaud it. Oh, they're just, that's how they are. They don't mean it. They're right. That's how politics goes. Nobody's held them accountable. And to boot, on top of all this, these two jackasses are running for the Central Committee, the Republican Central Committee, which is supposed to hold up the Republican Party, put forward, help push Republican candidates for all, levels of government in the county. These two who are attacking a Republican candidate are now going to be expected to promote the Republicans in this county. How stupid do you have to be to believe that's what they're actually going to do if they get elected to the Central Committee? Do you think Jason Miller and Boomstick are actually going to promote people? They're going to promote people they like. If they don't like you, they're not going to promote you. They're not going to help. They've proven that. If you don't believe what I'm saying, a minor detail wrote an article on this. They tracked it down. Eric Beasley wrote, as usual, a well-worded and well-investigated article about these two and tracked them down to that website. But nobody holds them accountable in Frederick County. They can do whatever they want to do in Frederick County. Because in Frederick County, all that matters is R. Doesn't matter if that R is behind the name of jackasses or low-class human beings. They have an R behind their name, and they're going to get our support. That is why the Republican Party in Frederick County is a joke. These two just are not the cause. They're a symptom. They're allowed to do what they want, when they want, and the Republican Party does nothing to admonish them. If these two had done what they had done in Baltimore, like that Pat McDonough guy did, they'd have been pushed out of the party by now. They'd have been forced to step down from their race, and that would have been done. They're not doing that in Frederick County. Republicans can get on radios and accuse people of all sorts of things and lie. They can make up websites to attack other Republicans, and nobody does anything about it. As a matter of fact, people will still campaign with these asses like they've done nothing wrong. So tell me again why the Republican Party in Frederick County is so strong, or why we should support the party. They don't even support their own. They attack their own, so why should we support it? Why are we expected to support Republicans when the Republicans who are in positions of authority or want to be in positions of authority are attacking other Republicans? Why should we support that? Why should I keep giving my money to the Republican Party? Why should I support Republican candidates that support this kind of nonsense? Why? And don't think we're alone. You got Washington County, you got Delegate Feynman, who threw cops under the bus. And voted against Leo Barr. And the best way to explain Leo Barr is it's like the Miranda rights for police officers. The best way to explain it. Her and Kipke, the only two Republicans in the entire state, voted with every Democrat in Maryland to throw cops under the bus. But they will both tell you with a straight face that they're pro-law enforcement. With a straight face, they'll tell you that. You can't vote against police officers one day and then come out the next day and try to tell me you're pro-law enforcement, because you're a liar. If you voted against the police in Leo Bar, you voted to strip them of their fundamental safety net, basically. You are not pro-officer. You're not pro-law enforcement. You're not. You can't tell me you are. You've just lost the right to say I'm pro-law enforcement the second you voted to throw cops under the bus and strip them of Leo Bar. And that's what Delegate Feynman in Washington County did. Whatever she does now doesn't impress me, shouldn't impress you. All that should stick in your head is that a Republican, Republicans have always historically been pro-law enforcement, pro-law. She voted against the police. And from what I understand, the reason she voted against them is because she knew it was going to pass and she was just trying to gain points with the other side. That's what I heard. I can't prove that. I don't know if that's the fact, but that's the scuttlebutt I've heard from a couple people, that she did it, just voted with them to earn some favor, which is disgusting if that's true. Grow a spine. I'm so sick of hearing about, well, she voted with them because she can't fight it because I don't care. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And just because you're the only person that's standing on the side of right doesn't mean you're wrong. And you still vote what's right. You don't change your vote because everybody's against you. That's cowardly. Yeah, Bill folded. Well, he says he didn't. Other people say he did. But the point is, if you have a problem with Bill folding, you don't start some anonymous website and start attacking him from the dark. You be a man, you grow a set, and you sit down and talk with him and tell him what your problem is. Because Bill Folden will sit down and talk with you. He did with me because I had a problem with Bill Folden, and we met and talked face to face. I may not agree with everything Bill Folden does. I may not agree with some of his policies or his ideas, but he has my respect as a man because he sat down with me. Jason Miller and James Boomstick Gross are not men because men don't hide and attack people. They don't make up fake Facebook pages like Colt Hannity and attack people. They don't do that. That's what spineless jellyfish do. That's what less than men do. And in Frederick County, that passes for a Republican. That's acceptable behavior from a Republican. They should be ashamed. If they had any class or integrity, they should be ashamed of themselves for what they've done. But they haven't. All they've done is stop talking, hoping everybody forgets they're involved in that so they can still get the votes to go to the Central Committee and further their attacks on Republicans they don't like. That's why you haven't heard from them in a while. They're hoping you all forget. I hope you don't forget. There are more qualified people running for Central Committee. The first name that pops into my head is Patty Price. And that's just off the top of my head. You don't need to vote for those two. There are plenty of other people on that list that deserve it, have earned it, and aren't going to bring an ego to the board with them and weaponize that position. Because I guarantee you, if Jason Miller and James Mr. Boomstick Gross get on that board, they're going to weaponize it and use it to attack Republicans they don't like. I don't understand what more people need to do. And I've heard people say, well, I've already promised no matter who gets past the primaries, I'm going to support the Republican no matter who it is. I will tell you right now, I do not like Kelly Schultz's policy. I do not like the fact that she's addressed no issues in Maryland. I do not like the fact that she's made everything she's done a personal attack against Dan Cox. She's not shown up for any debates. I have no idea what her stance is on anything. If she wins the nomination, I will not support her. She does not have my vote at all. She will never have my support. She has not earned it, and she's not the type of person I want representing this state. I don't care if she's a Republican. That has nothing to do with it. I will vote principle over party any day of the week. Will not support her. I will not have a Larry Hogan 2.0 in the office because I'm not going to sit back and go, oh, well, if I only, maybe we'd voted for somebody else, we'd had something different. No, I am not supporting her. Principle over party. She's wrong now. She's going to be wrong if she gets the nomination, and she's going to be wrong if she gets elected. Doesn't matter to me that she's a Republican. I don't care. I do not care. Principle over party. It's that simple. So no, I'm not going to support someone just because they're Republican. That would mean I would support Jason Miller and Boomstick. Not going to support those two jackasses. They're attacking Republicans. I'm almost 100% sure James Mr. Boomstick Gross is running a page called Shart Eisenthurd that's been around for a while, and that's been attacking other Republican candidates. That's attacked Cindy Rose, it's attacked me, it's attacked Chaz Packin, it's attacked Dan Cox, it has attacked other Republicans that they don't like. So why am I going to support people that possibly were involved? I'm not. And if you're going to support them just because they're Republican, you're an idiot. Because the only reason they're not attacking you is they like you right now. But that could change in any minute. They could stop liking you. And then what are you going to do? If we get Kelly Schultz in the office, Shauna, we might as well have a Democrat because that's all she is. She's a middle-of-the-road moderate who, I mean, number one, I don't know how she believes on anything. I don't know what her stance is on gun control. I know what her stance is on parents and schooling because she's copied everything Dan Cox has said and tried to make it her own. Where is she on taxes? Where is she on illegal immigration? Where is she on police? Where is she on anything? I don't know. So for all I know, she could be the most conservative person in the world, but she's decided not to say anything and just attack Dan Cox personally. So I don't know. I don't know anything about her. And at this point, I really don't want to know anything about her. I mean, Dan's a lawyer. He defended a scumbag. But that's his job. That's his job. I can't hold that against him like I can't hold against a police officer who arrests somebody. That's his job. Or a judge that finds somebody guilty or innocent. That's their job. That's what they get paid to do. I can't hold it against them, and I won't. But she's making that's all she's talking. Oh, you did this, you did this. Yeah, Kelly, why don't you talk about some of the issues that every Marylander is facing, like taxes. What do you plan on doing about taxes? What do you plan on doing about the 2A? Anything. We'll start simple. Is it sunny outside today, Kelly? What do you think about the weather? Just something. Give me something. Tell me something that you believe in. And she doesn't. So no, I don't think she'd be any better than a liberal. And I respect you, Shauna. You know that. I'm not trying to attack you or anything. I just don't think she'd bring anything to the table differently than Larry Hogan has. And look what an abysmal failure he's been. Yeah, well, she's not pro-life, but she is pro-life. She can't take a side. She won't. She's afraid to. And she's also was part of the group that decided what businesses could stay open and what businesses could stay closed or had to close. She was also, there's a video, wear the damn mask. I mean, she did nothing to help businesses in Maryland. She did nothing to help students in Maryland. She forced masks on them. But she wants to tell me that she's conservative? How do I know? All I've seen from her are attack ads. That's all I've seen. And then she came out with that parental contract, which was almost verbatim what Dan came out with months before. So she can't even be original. So I don't know. I think she'd just be another lib. There's no way you can convince me she won't, because she won't tell me herself. And like I said, she could be the most conservative person in the world, but she's chosen to run a Joe Biden type election and not address anything. So I don't know. And apparently she was at the Republican Women's Picnic last weekend, and she got a very tepid to lukewarm reception. Apparently Dan rocked the house. I know, Sean, and I don't want to dem either, but a wolf in sheep's clothing is the same thing, and I don't have anything else to go on when it comes to Kelly Schultz other than attack ads. That's all I've seen about her. And attack ads don't make a governor. That makes a sleazy politician in my book. But yeah. So yeah, just remember, just because they got an R after their name doesn't mean they're Republican. Pat McDonough in Baltimore stealing signs, Republican? No, he's not. I don't care what the letter after his name is. That's not what Republicans do. You got, according to a minor detail, Jason Miller, the VP of the Republican Club, and James Mr. Boomstick Gross are attacking Republicans from a website anonymously that they don't like. I'm almost 100% sure James Gross is running another site on Facebook that's attacking Republicans that he doesn't like. And they want to be on the Central Committee. Don't vote for them. Yeah, Chaz and Mason also did pretty well, and I was going to get to that. But yeah, just like I said, I wish ballots did not have R or D after the candidate's name, so you would be forced to look into that candidate yourself. I think that would change elections fundamentally. I think the right people would start getting elected from the Republican Party if you took that away. Right now, there are too many people that just look at the RD behind the name and vote. That is why the party's in the shape that it's in locally. So please don't fall for they're Republican just because they say they are. I've just given you 3 examples of people who say they're Republican and they're not Republican. They should be embarrassed and they should be pushed out of the party. Same thing with Brenda Thame, or Delegate Thame in Washington County. She voted against police, which is fundamentally against what a Republican does. She threw police under the bus, but will tell you she's pro-police. She needs to be removed from the party too. Let them go register as liberals or Democrats. That's fine, because that's what they're acting like. Republicans don't do this. Republicans don't do this. You're not going to convince me that they're Republican. You're not going to convince me that they're good people. And you're not going to convince me that they get my vote. I vote for Republicans who have integrity, who have class, and are in it to help people, not help themselves. And all I see with these 4 people I named is somebody trying to help themselves, trying to get a little power, a little authority, and then wield it like a weapon. That's not what I want. We've had enough of that kind of crap in the party for long enough. I think Donald Trump exposed those kind of morons, and we need to carry that forward. We need to drain the swamp. These people need to go. They are not Republican. They are not conservative. If you vote for them, you're not Republican. You're not conservative, because they don't uphold the ideals of either. In no way, shape, or form do they uphold a conservative principle or a Republican principle. They hold up a personal, I want to be in charge principle. That's what they get. That's what you're going to get with them. And yes, I've been getting nasty text messages and emails from fake Facebook pages ever since I started talking about this. You think that's just coincidence? Do you think all of a sudden these weirdos decided to make up Facebook pages and come at me? No. These are the people I'm talking about continually doing what they do. And I've spent enough time on those 4 people. You know who they are. Don't vote for them. They haven't earned your vote. They're attacking other Republicans. They're stealing signs from other candidates, or they're throwing police officers under the bus and smiling. You don't need this in the party. This is why the party's trash in this state. This is why. Right here. And there's more examples, but I'm not going to get into them. I've named those. And I'm sure I'm going to get more nasty, fake posts and emails from people. I don't care. It just proves that I'm right. Want to talk about, with the little time we have left, the Ukraine and that whole situation going on over there. I was in the military. My daughter was in the military. She was married to somebody in the military. My brother was in the military. My stepbrothers were in the military. Pretty much my entire family was military. My father was a police officer. My mother worked for the Department of the Army. So, with that being said, I believe we need to stay the hell away from the Ukraine for the time being. We don't need to be involved in it. We don't need to be sending them $40 billion. We don't need anything to do with that right now. We need to stay out of it. If things escalate and other countries start looking like they're going to be drug into it or attacked, then maybe we should involve ourselves, limited at first, and see what happens from there. We don't have baby formula on shelves in our country. Gas, I'm telling you, will be $6 a gallon in 2 weeks. I will be shocked if it's not. It'll be 10 by August, is what most economists are saying. Inflation is through the roof. Unemployment is crazy. But we're sending $40 billion to another country. Explain that to me. Are we that well off that we can just, it's $40 billion, go ahead? We need to start getting politicians at all levels of government that focus on this country first. I'm not saying we don't help other countries, but we need to help ourselves first. We need to make sure we have before we give to other countries. And right now, we don't have. We are struggling. So why are we lending money to other, not even lending, we're giving them $40 billion. Why? Is it so we look good? I don't care about appearances. We need to take care of our own country first. We need to be America-centric. And then, once we got our house in order, then we start looking at other countries that we could possibly help. Exactly. Charity starts at home. We got people that can't feed their kids in this country, but we're going to send $40 billion to another country. If we kept that $40 billion here, just imagine the things that we could get done and can accomplish. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that we're sending that much money away. It's not helping us. The Ukraine and Russia war has nothing to do with us. Nothing. We shouldn't be involved. And if that upsets you, I apologize. But it's ramping up, and it shouldn't be ramping up. It should be between two countries. Let them handle it. We should let it be known that, hey, you two want to fight, you want to invade a country, it's wrong, we don't agree with it, but you need to, if that's what it is, don't involve any other countries. Don't start invading other countries, then we're going to get involved. But right now, we're watching. We're in a hold pattern to see how you act. I mean, I don't think any country should invade another country, but that doesn't automatically mean we need to start sending money to that country or amassing troops or training. We don't need to be involved. We got our own stuff going on here we need to take care of. We got a president that can't remember his name half the time, or doesn't know where he is half the time. But we're going to send $40 billion to another country. We got no baby food on shelves. We got gas. It's crazy. Crazy. And it's going to get worse. Eggs and milk and bread are skyrocketing. Jobs are hard to find. Inflation is ridiculous. And we're going to give another country $40 billion. And I guarantee you we're going to give them more. This will not be the last time we send them money. I can promise you that. Promise you that. And exactly, Sean. We have military veterans sleeping on the street. We got homeless people, homeless kids. But we're going to send $40 billion to another country. I don't get it. Oh, $7 by midsummer mark? I'm going 8 or 9. I'm telling you, I agree with the economist. Gas will be $10 by the end of August if things don't change. And I see no reason for things to change. If gas hits $10 a gallon, I can tell you what's going to happen. There's small businesses like DoorDash, well, not small, but you know what I mean. Small DoorDash, Uber, all those kind of like businesses where people use their own cars are going to disappear. They're going to be gone because no one's going to be able to afford to do it anymore. Shipping by trucking is going to become a premium. You're going to see basic necessities skyrocket. Skyrocket. Police officers, my father was telling me when there was a big gas shortage back in the late 70s, early 80s, if police officers had take-home vehicles, they were responsible for their own gas. They had to put gas in their cruisers. How is that going to happen? How are they going to afford to do that plus their personal vehicle? Mass transit is going to die. They're not going to be able to afford to fuel that stuff. I don't care if it's electric because there's fuel somewhere involved in everything. So I don't care if it's an electric fleet. It's going to suffer. Schools are going to suffer with buses. They're not going to be able to afford to fill up buses at $10 a gallon. And they use diesel. Diesel's already at $6. I could see diesel going to $13, $14 a gallon. If normal gas hits 10, that's not out of the realm of reality. I can see all of that happening. But we're going to send $40 billion to a country that we really don't need to be involved with. And then all the politicians are going to bemoan the baby formula. There's no baby formula. We got to do something about that. Or gas prices are ridiculous. We got to do something about that. And we're busy helping other countries. That's why I always say politicians are not the answer to our problems. We are the answer to our problems. We're the boss. We need to start holding people accountable that earn political office. It's that simple. If they're not doing the job, get them out. They don't get to have 30, 40 years in Congress and make a career out of it. We need to promote and endorse candidates that are pro term limits. There needs to be, we need to rein this in. It's getting ridiculous. You got people in Congress that are incontinent and have to wear diapers but are making decisions for you and me. Does that seem intelligent? I mean, in what world does that make sense? Can't control my own body, but I'm going to make decisions for you. I don't understand why people think that's acceptable to be in Congress 30 or 40 or 50 years. You should be in Congress no more than 10, then get out. Your time is up. And no, you don't get a pension. And no, you don't get lifetime health insurance. You don't get anything lifetime. You'll get exactly what the state you represent gets. You'll get the mean salary of your state while you're serving. So if you're from a state that's mean salary is, let's say, $40,000, while you're in Congress or the Senate, guess how much you make while you're serving? The mean salary of your state, you'll make $40,000 a year. If you want to raise, then you better raise the level of life in your state. You want more than $40,000, make your state mean salary increase, because you're not going to get a raise just because you're in Congress. You're not going to get free lifetime health care because you were in Congress. You don't get it. I bet you if you start tying wages and all that to the state these people represent, less and less people would want to be in Congress or senator if they can't make millions of dollars. I mean, you want to make a state better? Tie that Congress and tie every politician's state wage or their wage to that state's mean wage. You will see that state flourish in about a year and a half. But nobody wants to do that. Most people look at politicians in general as rock stars, like they deserve the money they get. They don't. They don't. It was not. Political service was never intended to be a career. When the forefathers brought all this up, they never had in mind, hey, let's make a system to where if you get a government job, you can stay there for life and just become rich. Everybody who was a founding father had another job. Politics was part-time. They had farms or businesses they had to run. They made time to do this kind of thing. And things worked. Just saying, shouldn't go into politics and come out a millionaire. Shouldn't be like that. That's why I think we need term limits, but that's for another time. We need to get out of the Ukraine or step back. Not that we're in, we need to take a step back and kind of reevaluate before we start sending more and more and more money. Like I said, $40 billion is ridiculous. There's no reason to send $40 billion. But they did, and I guarantee you, if no one raises a big stink about it, they'll send another couple billion again in a couple months if it's still going on. They'll keep doing it until someone says something. Meanwhile, we got no baby food. But it's okay because we're helping Ukraine. Wasn't it like a couple years ago, every Democrat in the world hated Ukraine? Couldn't say anything nice about them. Now all of a sudden they want to send them billions? I don't get it. Makes no sense to me. But that's what we're doing. We're supporting other countries and we can barely support our own. Yeah, there are some, don't get me wrong, there are some politicians that see what I'm saying and agree. Like, we don't need to be sending money to other countries. We need to take care of here. There's politicians like that, and thank God for them, but they're far and few between, and they're getting muscled out of the way by everybody who wants to spend money. That's why I'm saying if you find a candidate that you support, 90% or more, support them. Get behind them. We need more common sense and less politicians. But yeah, there are politicians out there that are fighting it. And I hope they keep fighting it. Because eventually it'll catch on. They'll get enough people that agree with them that'll support them and things will start to change. But it's going to be billions and billions and billions of dollars before that happens, unfortunately. And we're going to foot the bill like we always do. Taxpayer foots the bill. And it's not right. Like I said, it's not right. We need to be America first. Everybody else second. Not to be rude or not to be nasty, but we need to take care of ourselves first and get ourselves on an even footing before we even think about talking about helping other countries. How many other countries send us money? Exactly. We're paying bills for other countries, and I don't understand why we're doing that. I don't get it. On a completely different subject, yesterday the USS Minneapolis St. Paul was commissioned for service. I think it's going to be based out of Florida, I think. It's a littoral ship, which means it's designed for operations close to shore. It's not really like a battleship or something out in the open seas. It's designed for shore operations, close to shore. Special operations. It has helicopters, things like that. I think there's 3 others of the same designation, LCSs. It's a pretty cool ship. Went through all its sea trials, passed all its sea trials, and it got commissioned. So that's pretty cool. I mean, if you're in the Navy, it's pretty cool. If you follow that kind of thing, it's pretty cool. But it was commissioned. It'll be in St. Petersburg, and that's where it'll start its official military service, which is pretty neat. So yeah, we talked about a lot of things. Keep in mind the BOE, that is the single most important election we have. There's no way around it. That is the single most important election we have coming up. And we need conservatives on there because we've seen what liberals are going to do. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. They will accomplish nothing other than people getting abused locked up in seclusion rooms or things like that. So vote out all the incumbents. Vote out. Don't vote for anybody that has anything to do with the Board of Education, because they are all involved. And if you think the abuse was only going on from 2017 to 2020, you're crazy. It's been going on much longer, and like I said, it's still going on. They should all be ashamed and embarrassed of their track record, but they're not, because they don't have any integrity. When it comes to voting, don't vote for someone simply because there's an R after the name. Like I just told you about these 4 people. They claim to be Republicans, but they have done nothing remotely close to what a Republican would do. When you steal signs from other candidates, when you open up websites and anonymously attack other Republican candidates you don't like, or other Facebook pages and attack candidates you don't like that are Republican, or you vote against police, you are not Republican. You are not conservative. You are a liberal. A liberal. And you need to remember that when you go to vote. Don't vote based on just the R. Principle over party. And you will never go wrong. Never. I just don't understand why people like this are allowed to remain in the party after they do what they do. Why people have no problem with that. Like I said, though, I'm glad Baltimore County is holding them accountable. At least there's one county that does not accept piss poor behavior from the Republicans, from their own party, and then we'll hold them accountable. So bravo. I'm glad that's happening. I hope that becomes a trend across the state. Don't think it'll ever come to Frederick County. We're more worried about friends and cookouts and shaking hands with people than we are about accountability. And that's why we can't win can't win. Because no one takes us seriously. We don't clean our own house and we're going to point out what everybody else does. And like I said about the Buffalo shooting, it's horrible. I don't think more gun control is going to be the answer. They got gun control up there now, and look what happened. So that's not the answer. It's not going to help. And apparently the guy wrote plans about doing this 5 months ahead of time. So it wasn't like this was a spur of the moment he'd been planning. And like I said, I don't think he was racist more than he was evil. I think he was just an evil individual, and he got his gun and went and did what evil people do. I think racism played a very little part in it. I just think he was rotten to his soul, and this is what he did. And no, I'm not going to tell you what his name was because he doesn't deserve to have his name mentioned ever again. And don't forget about the USS Minneapolis. You should look at the pictures online. The USS Minneapolis St. Paul, really cool looking ship. It's just a different ship than I was on an LPH, so it's kind of a midget aircraft carrier, very clunky. Yep, he chose an area where you know people wouldn't be armed. I mean, there were 2 guards inside the supermarket apparently that were armed, but they had pistols, and you're not going to do well against a rifle with a pistol. So yeah, like I said, the best thing to do in this country, if you're going to have it, arm everybody. Let everybody be armed. If you can be proficient with your weapon, you're not a criminal, you should be able to carry a weapon. I don't think you should get a gun if you have no idea what you're doing. You should have to be proficient with the weapon. I don't think that's asking too much. So yeah. And that's another thing. Going back to 2A, what is Kelly's stance on 2A? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Somebody asked me, I couldn't tell you. There'd be nothing I could answer that. No way for me to answer that. So yeah, it's about that time. Thanks for watching or listening or whatever how it works here. My page is Conservative Corner. I did get my name changed. They finally allowed me to change my name, which was pretty awesome. So my page is no longer Citizens for Jonas F. Eisenberg. It is Conservative Corner. And if I don't like it, I'll change it again, but I think I'll stick with that for a while. So if you're not following or liking that page yet, please do so. Because I'm sure after today's rant, I'm going to lose some followers because some people are sheep and put party over principle. And I don't want them following me anyway. I like the people I have here. You're all smart, intelligent, and you think for yourselves, which is great. So remember, we got the election coming up in July. So I'll talk more about that as we get closer and get more detailed about it. That's really it. And I'll say it again. If you support a candidate, give them money. They need money. $5, $10, $20, $2,000. Any amount will help. They need money because it's not cheap to run a campaign. very expensive. And the higher up you go, the more expensive it gets, of course. So Dan Cox needs a lot of money compared to like somebody running for county council. But they still need the money. So if you can afford to give them some money, give them some money. Like I said, it doesn't have to be hundreds of dollars. Give them 10, 5, 10, 15 bucks. They can work with that. So yeah, support them with money. Your time is always welcome when it comes to candidates, but they need money. All the candidates have their own personal websites and Facebook pages. Chaz is packing number4council.com. I can't remember Mason Carter's right at the top of my head, but all you gotta do is search Mason Carter. You're gonna find them. Justin Wages, E&I Slate, Cassie Chang, Chris, or is it, Phil Dacey, he's running again. Tony Heimlich, I can't pronounce his last name, I apologize. All those guys. Anybody running for any position needs money. And like I've said before, do not give your money to the party. Give it directly to the candidate. They'll make better use of it. Carter for Council. There you go. That's Mason Carter's page. It's Carter for Council, all one word. You can go there and donate. And you can also find out what they're doing in the future, like any speaking engagements or town halls or things like that. They'll post them there. And again, do not give your money to the party. Give it to the candidate. It's more direct, and you know exactly that you'll know that they got it, and there's no middleman that won't be lost in the shuffle. So give directly to your candidate. I wouldn't give to any party. I'd give right to the candidate. And it's crazy to give money to somebody who says they'll get it to the person you should just give it to in the first place. Just skip all that and go right to that person or go to their website. So yeah, it's Conservative Corners, my new page. It was Citizens for Genocide Eisenberg, so please follow and like it if you haven't already. Share it with your friends. Share it with people you're not friends with. The more the merrier. The more people we get following, the more people we get engaged, the more change that we can affect, the more things we can make happen or have happen. Once people start seeing, hey, there's 80, 90 people all agreeing on the same thing, things will change. And that's it. Support Dan Cox. At least he's not out there personally attacking people. At least he's addressing the issues. So I will talk to you all next Sunday. If you have any questions about anything I said or talked about, feel free to send me a message on Messenger or just post something on my page. If you are using a fake Facebook page, like I'm not going to mention who, I'm just going to block you. I'm not even going to respond to you, so don't waste your time. Y'all have a good week. Watch out. It's supposed to be pretty hot. Have a good one.